If you love the barbell long enough, it will lead you to all your best friends. It will lead you to a life of strength. And if you're very lucky, it will lead you to the birthplace of the greatest barbells in the world, in Halmstad, Sweden, the home of Eleiko Barbell. Barbell Shrugged, Ryan Fisher, Coach Travis Mash, and families all embarked on the most epic journey to go find out why Eleiko Sport is known as the greatest barbell in the world, home of thousands of world records, the best raw materials, the best innovation, and the best people to take barbell sports and their love for strength to the next level. And this is their story.
Yo, we're at Eleiko in Sweden. We're gonna go make the greatest barbells that exist on this planet inside their brand new sports center. Right on. Hey team, we traveled all the way from the United States. We're at the Eleiko headquarters here in Halmstad, Sweden. This is Joachim. I didn't say that right. Joachim.
Yes.
We're gonna get it right. I got it right the first time. Ryan Fish, Travis Mash, and then my main man Doug Larson over here. We are gonna take a big tour through the office, find out how the best barbells in the world are made. We're gonna make our own barbells.
Yeah.
It is the best bar in the world. We're gonna make 4 of the best barbells in the world. But before we do that, we gotta load up on Fika. You don't have to Google that. That stands for coffee out here. And we're gonna eat some waffles. Let's make some of these things.
Let's go make some
Let's
waffles.
do it.
All right, I'm gonna put you guys to work straight away.
So what's special about these waffles?
Swedish waffles are a thing. There's actually a Swedish waffle day in Sweden where people binge up on Swedish waffles. And the reason why the waffle iron and the waffle is especially special for Eleiko is that we started as a small electrical appliances company, and we made a lot of waffle irons. So if you look out, you can still find Eleiko waffle irons.
This is back like in the 50s?
Yeah, exactly. And when we made our first weightlifting bar, we actually got inspired by the waffle iron pattern for our knurling. So that's the connection between waffles and our bars.
Wow.
And that's why we need to start with
So cool.
this pattern.
The Eleiko waffle maker.
Yeah, this is not one, but
pattern one time?
I can find one. So I have one in my
It's
office.
actually very similar to the original.
Yeah, it is.
Literally
Yeah.
knurling, huh?
Yeah, I was super fortunate growing up where I was with the strength coach that I had from like 14 to 18, like my whole high school career. We had all Eleiko bars. And like he said that he bought Eleiko bars because he wanted to make sure that no matter what happened, like you could never blame the equipment. You could never say like, oh, I missed that lift because that barbell sucks. He wanted to always be able to blame himself because all the equipment was only the best in the world. So all he had was Eleiko bars.
Yeah.
So that was like my very first impression of Eleiko was that it was just the best
Yeah.
from day one.
And just call it carb loading, and then you're fine.
And then right into barbell.
And then right into barbell.
And barbell.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Miles.
Oh, dude, all the time. If I'm peeing and I hear someone walk in, I'm just like, did you get it? Can I finish midstream?
Dude, we're about to head into the super secret room. We can't even take the cameras in there, but we're gonna go build. Travis Max is building his own powerlifting bar, Olympic weightlifting bar, weightlifting bar.
All right, so we'll start the tour here at the world's most famous bar. This is not a full collection, but a pretty decent overview of the different bars that we make. And as you guys know, we build both powerlifting and weightlifting bars for male and female competitors, athletes, and people training. And the 4 points I want to talk to you about today are the steel, the knurling, the rotation, and all of the testing that we do to ensure that we produce the world's most famous bar. As you can already see, we built bars with different types of knurling. and that's very dependent on the type of lifting that's being done on them. So you can imagine that if you want to do a world record snatch, you want to have a slightly more aggressive knurl than if you're doing a CrossFit workout with one of our XF bars. What also is important to note is that all of our bars are being produced with our 3 partners in mind as well. So we are certified by the IWF, the IPF and the WPPO, which is the World Powerlifting Organization that we work very closely with as well. They actually have their own specifications when it comes to their bench bar, and we build specific products like a podium and weights for them as well. I'll show you guys that later when we get into the weightlifting area. But for now, we'll get into production. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you guys to put one of these on. So you're extra visible, extra official.
This is the super.
And boom. So please stay with me. We'll start over here. When we interview gym owners and we ask them what is your biggest pain when it comes to dumbbells, full stop. It's reliability. Yeah. They break down, you need to tighten them again.
You're always afraid they're going to fall and like hit.
Yes. So for instance, this specific rubber compound or this compound, we went to many different iterations. We had one test dumbbell that we dropped, it was 5 times from 5 meters, and then 50 times from overhead, which was what I was doing in a lunch break. And then we had to drop 500,000 times from here when you finish a set on a bench. We used the same dumbbell, and after for all of that, and after that I trained with it again, no problem. Just a few scruff marks.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's go.
We have two staff on point, and as you can see, each bar is assembled by hand. We make sure that we finish up all the bars. We weigh each and every single component to make sure that it is within the weight tolerances that we strive for. Then we pack.
Sorry, what are the weight tolerances? If it's a 20 kilo bar.
Susanna,
like,
you know this better than I do.
So if it says a 20 kilo bar, what's like the high and low for what's
20,
accepted?
Put 20 up and 10 down, but we never down. We are maybe sort of 5, 6, 7 up.
Grams.
Grams?
Grams.
Oh, grams, yeah. No kilos. We have.
Not kilos.
Yeah.
Do you want to make a bar?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We came all the way from
You
the United
can,
States
you
to
really
hang out.
What if I want to buy a pound?
Just need a little help. There we go. I'm so scared right now. Nice.
One last thing we need to note is that each and every bar that we make here gets a serial number. So we will always be able, like once you have a bar out in the field and we need to track it for some reason, and we need to know which batch it was made from.
Every bar has its own name, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So we can source, we can basically trace back the bar all the way up to the steel mill. How are you? Are you a little jet lagged? What are you eating? What? What? Yeah, that's Papa. Look, making a bar. Yeah, making a bar. Yeah.
How did you learn all this? Like, how do you know, as a marketing, they teach you all this stuff? Like, you know so much about the history and like the bars.
Yeah, I mean, we designed the tour.
Okay.
To give specific talking points like, hey, what's our history, where do we come from, and because it adds to people's understanding why we do things certain ways.
And why it costs so much.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, now I totally get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I always did because
Yeah, but I mean, and it's also important for us to explain to people, like, if you have to have a certain mindset to buy our equipment.
yeah,
So you know, we would not necessarily go into like flashy customization, or we just want to build the best version of a thing there is. So now with the new dumbbells, like, we want to be certain that we build the best dumbbell that's out there.
yeah. There's no way to top.
No, but you know, that's not necessarily super flashy or sexy, but there's always an appeal for athletes or coaches who are like, I just want to have the best stuff.
I used to work with Muscle Driver.
Yeah.
USA. You know, I was a coach. I wasn't,
Yeah.
but I can already see a huge difference.
Yeah.
In your product versus
Yeah.
what they make.
Well, I have a gym back home, and I bought only Eleiko equipment, and we've been running weightlifting, powerlifting, and CrossFit classes now for 5 years straight, and like everything functions as it did on day one.
Yeah.
So that's a huge peace of mind for me.
We did not have near as good of like it wasn't the exact same bar every time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like we sent bars that were just
Yeah,
not as
yeah.
quality. And it's impossible. You guys are always just saying that quality. It's gonna be
Yeah.
the same quality bar.
Yeah, and consistency in performance.
It's huge.
I mean, because that's ultimately, you know, every bar should feel the same if it's the same type of bar.
Muscle
Because if it
doesn't.
doesn't, it's a huge, like on competition day when you're ready to do like a super heavy bench press and your bar just feels 1% off, you'll be able to feel it.
Yeah.
Because you've had so many training hours on a bar.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't work.
We would, because we gave all of our athletes, you know, it was a professional weightlifting team in America.
Yeah.
And like all the athletes had a bar, and the bars were all different. And it was obvious.
Yeah,
And some people's bars were better than others.
yeah,
That would
yeah.
never happen here. It'd be
No.
like that.
no.
Which is why our bars are with
Workings of the sleeves, like the way our sleeves are constructed, have not been copied yet. I mean, you can take a sleeve apart and try to rebuild it, but I mean, it's a combination of the steel, the sleeve, and all of the testing that we do to ensure that it's just like it's we're on the top of the game, so to speak.
and like
We're not hired.
No, but you did make your own bar.
The worst barbells come out of Eleiko. Squeeze it.
Yeah.
We did it. Look at that. She knows how to do this.
Suzanne
Killing it. That's why she's on the world stage.
coming in hot.
So one thing, Travis is already on there. So he can't wait. So I'll actually start here. You can see 3 images here, right? And I already mentioned powerlifting, weightlifting, and powerlifting. They represent our 3 partners. That's actually Angelica. She works in finance and is a world level weightlifter. So she's also an Eleiko employee. These are the competition setups. So whenever you're watching a world state competition, this is the setup that you'll see. I specifically mentioned the IPF product, which is new. This got premiered this year at Worlds in Sweden, and it's pretty interesting when you talk to engineers and you look at our old like powerlifting setup, the bench and squat rack. You know, it worked pretty well. So I asked them, like, how do you guys go and get something that's good, even better? And they actually gave me a list of 80 points that they improved. And it's things like these handles, and it's things like this finish, which now also has a knurling pattern, so you have a better grip for your upper back when benching.
We were talking about the leather is it in here and the other, where do you guys source the leather from? And
Yeah, so this
not
is
normal
actually not leather. This is actually a complete mold. So instead of having foam and then gluing or tacking something on there, this is one solid piece. And that's also a new type of upholstery that we made, which basically lasts lots and lots and lots longer than normal upholstery.
Every leather bench
Cracks, yeah, and this won't.
Oh,
no.
yeah.
So
You ever
we
been here before? Look at this guy. Careful.
Oh my god, that just looks terrifyingly strong.
First time.
Can you just say this intro, this will be a voiceover for that live shot, what this gym is?
Yeah. So now we're at our free weight area in the gym, and this is also where we represent our partners. We have the IPF, the IWF, and the WPPO, and their respective competition setups.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So this is obviously where you guys need to train.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this. And then to your point, Ryan, on making noise, I just want to show you guys the SVR platform.
This raised one?
Yeah. So one of the, I already mentioned this to Doug before, but one of the things that is within our mission is to get as many people as possible into lifting. The up and deadlift bar being an example of literally opening up the possibilities of lifting, but a lot of gyms who consider even deadlifts or things that need to be dropped overhead is noise and vibration. And getting complaints from customers or neighbors. And that's why we developed the SVR platform, which basically eliminates most of the noise and vibration that you hear when you drop a bar.
I could have used that. I got evicted 3 times.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Me too.
We've had several customers who were able to actually sign a lease when they demoed the platforms at their gym.
You're gonna save me so many heartaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is expensive, yeah?
It doesn't come cheap, no.
Yeah.
But it lasts.
Like the difference between this versus like that.
Staying in business.
That's a good question. I need to check. I don't know what the difference is. Yeah.
Well, this is a lot. I mean, just the height would save the floors, like
Yeah, it will say, and we now have this.
All the time.
We just this month released a deadlift version of this, which is half the size, because a lot of gyms just use this for deadlifts, and then the footprint is half the size. This is like weightlifting full stop, but for heavy deadlifts, we just made a version that's half the size. Yeah, and we have them in inserts now as well, so that's also an SVR insert, so same technology. Yeah. Yeah. So
This is probably a flooring that has a little bit of air in it. Yeah, so
No.
it's not totally solid.
no, it's a
Like an acoustic lamination or something?
yeah, it's a proprietary foam that we developed, and that's the hard part here, because you can dampen noise and vibration, but then your bar bounces back to the ceiling. So it was really to find a right balance in eliminating noise and vibration, but also making sure that the bar doesn't bounce too much. And that's what we try to perfect. And that's also the only part that will wear out. So that foam is designed to wear out after a couple of years, but then you can just replace it with a new pad. This rubber will last forever. It's the highest grade rubber that we could source, and the same for the wooden deck. Like the only thing you should not do on here is like kettlebell work and then scraping the deck. But we have also that finish, and then you can do whatever you want on it. So you can choose the type of finish you want.
For anybody that does not know kind of the history of the story, it's not the most. I feel like if you were to walk into a gym and be like, we want to make the best barbell in the world, how do we do that? You'd go find like some meathead that spent a lot of time on barbells, but instead you guys were in the waffle iron industry,
that's
an
right.
appliance industry.
Yeah, exactly.
What's a little bit of the backstory of the company, and how did we get to making the best barbells in the world?
That's a good question. It's an interesting story. So actually the company was started already in 1927, and at that time it was making electrical appliances. So waffle irons, toasters, ovens. So that was the origin of the business, and it was doing that for quite some time. But it started to diversify as well, and out of pure chance, basically, there was a weightlifter working in the factory in the 50s.
Oh man!
And he wanted
some
to
strong guy that looked like Travis, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but taller.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone here 6'3".
Yeah.
Midget. I'm definitely considered a midget. Yeah.
And he wanted to make a barbell that could last an entire competition.
Yeah.
In those days, it was really you used several barbells in a competition.
Because they would bend.
Bend, yeah, and sometimes even broke. And it was also a funny thing at the time. It was a widow of the family that originally established the business. She was running the company at the time, and this was quite unusual as well in Sweden to have a female CEO running a business. And but she said yes to this. She said, let's develop a weightlifting bar, and let's see what happens. And that was done, working with a steel mill up in the northern part of Sweden, where we still get our specialty steel for this type of product. And developed the Eleiko bar. It was introduced at a World Championships in Stockholm in the early 60s for professional weightlifting. And since then it's sort of built really the reputation that we have in the industry right now. And over 1,000 world records with Eleiko bar, and it was the first company to be certified by the International Weightlifting Federation. And that's been the core of the business for so many years.
You have the most world records in the world.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Amazing.
Over the course of 50 years, like how have the barbells changed over 50 years? I'm sure there's iterations and improvements that are constantly happening. Like, what did they look like 50 years ago, and then what do they look like today?
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, we continuously work with perfecting the barbell, and I think over the years there's been multiple incremental improvements to the product. I think we did the last real big upgrade just about 2 years ago, where we took a couple of steps back and really looked at the product to see what really to examine and benchmark this product against everything that's out there, and that was a really interesting project, and ultimately that led to us launching the next generation of Eleiko barbells. And there are three main things that we've improved now in the latest round of development work, and one is the steel, where we perfected both the steel we use, but mostly on the hardening and the surface treatment process to make it last longer. And the other thing is the grip. Eleiko bars are known for having a very professional grip. It's quite sharp. It's quite suited for really heavy lifting. But we've perfected that and made a smoother grip for the fitness and the performance bars. Mm-hmm. And then I would say that the main change we did was on the construction of the bearings in the sleeve, and there we introduced two new things. One was a dustproof seal to really make sure that inside the sleeve it's clean and it's well greased for optimal durability. And then we also introduced a new type of construction for the bearing application. So we introduced an inner race between the bearing and the bar, and that has some interesting consequences. It really perfects the rotation of the bar. So typically, if you look at the older bars, the heavier you load the bar, there's some slight effects on the rotation of the sleeve. But with this new construction, we're really trying to optimize the rotation and make it optimally smooth for lifting for all type of loads. And really at the core is that we want to make an experience for the lifter where you have the ultimate lifting experience. You should be as connected to the bar as you are to your own body. Every slippage, everything should be so optimal that it feels like you're basically lifting your own self.
Yeah.
That's kind of the driver behind our thinking with developing the bars.
We talked about the history of the company starting as an appliance company. We mentioned the waffle makers.
Yeah.
We just had Swedish waffles a little bit ago.
Delicious.
And we were talking about the grip and the knurling and whatnot.
Yeah.
We haven't actually tied those two things together. Can you give us the story of the waffles?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is that waffle iron, the waffle iron is still there on the bar. I mean, the grip is a waffle iron pattern. So it really connects back to the history of the
It's actually 100% true.
You
don't have to believe them. You can believe us. We ate the waffles. It's the exact same.
Exactly, and you've been in the production as well, so you've seen it.
So someone back in the day saw the waffle iron pattern, was like, "Yo, we should stamp that on a barbell, and then give us better grip." And then it just turned out to work really well.
The funny thing is I actually saw my brother visited the Nike headquarters some time ago, and they also have a similar type of waffle iron story to their history.
Yeah,
the shoe.
Right.
They made a sole out of.
They had the waffle pattern.
They didn't make the waffle irons themselves, but they actually were somehow eating waffles and came up with an idea to make a sole that was really innovative and new at the time. So it's it's nice to have a shared history with
Yeah.
that type
Yeah,
of
that's
company.
the shoe
Nike's
is
been around.
grippy
They're
and
good.
it
They do
bends.
okay. Yeah, they've been successful.
Exactly.
When did you become CEO?
2012.
Was that right about when you guys went back and kind of this process of reinventing the barbell and upgrading everything?
Yeah, you can say. I mean, since then I would say we've accelerated our focus on product development and really focusing on the core of our business, which is the lifting equipment, of course, the free weights, the weightlifting, powerlifting, powerlifting, but really free weights equipment for lifting, strength training, and functional fitness.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to tell the people, like how you guys use your company motto where you want to be kind to everyone, not just to every person, but to yourself, the environment. We learned that a lot of your processes are very healthy for the environment. I think a lot of people would love to hear that.
Yeah. No, I mean, our values are really built on performance, of course. So pursue outstanding performance. That's
Being
really at the
jacked.
core.
Yeah.
And then
He means being jacked.
Yeah.
exactly. And to keep learning. So
Right.
education is a key part of what we work with. And then the kindness part. We say you should act with kindness, and also that is sort of the internally we talk about it as the ultimate display of strength. And it's something that we care a lot about. It really goes back to the way my father ran the business. So we're a family-owned company, and my father ran it for quite some years. And he was always talking about putting the human being at the center, and we try to really keep that in the business. And it's something we care a lot about. So the relationships are extremely important, both within the company and then with every person that somehow touches the Eleiko company.
Yeah.
And I think one of the interesting things that CrossFit's going through right now is the messaging of, are we a sport or are we a fitness program?
Right.
Glassman has clearly chosen the fitness program route.
Yeah.
In your experiences working with them and now, how do you decide, like, Eleiko is a sports brand, and we have all these ambassadors, and we're working with IPF, IWA, or IWF, sorry, not association, federation, and
the Paralympics.
Yeah, and the Paralympics, like, you have this big sports side, but you're also, in a way, a fitness brand that you want mom and dads around the world using great barbells so they don't get hurt. Where's the trade-off in that? And, you've had experiences doing it already, but just managing the messaging, using the sports side, and also having to manage the fitness side.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, first off, we need to recognize that we've been making bars for over 60 years, and we're deeply rooted into the competition side. That's where we come from. That's where we've existed for a very, very long time, and it will always be, the area where we focus on to create, the best products to set world records.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see that as, our sort of halo market. But all the lessons that we learn there and all the products that we make for those athletes, we can still use all of that knowledge to build products for the regular gym and fitness environment. Right. Think of it as again, a car brand building like a super nice sports car, but they have other models available as well, which people can use. The one common denominator across all products will always be performance. So that's never negotiable. Like, we build products that should perform and that you use to build performance, and that can be in sports, but it can also be in life.
Man, that just lit me up. Thinking about this, like, let's say that your mom, for the first time ever, is trying CrossFit. And her first experience with the barbell is a janky one.
And it hurts her.
She's done.
Yeah.
She'll never, you finally got her there. I'm just thinking of my own mother. Like, if I could get her, it would be awesome to teach my mom the thing that I love. I spent my whole life on the barbell. And if she tried it, it was a janky experience.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she goes, and her first experience is on a Eleiko bar.
What's the very first thing you do when you walk into a gym that isn't your own? Because you don't have to worry about it when you're at your own.
Check the barbell.
I walk over, spin it.
I hit it in the middle to see the oscillation.
Yeah.
That's I do the exact same thing every single gym I walk into, because if I spin it and it goes, I am not touching that barbell ever again.
I'm leaving that gym.
But I mean, and I think that's also something that CrossFit as an organization or a movement has brought us. Like, we're all coaches. We know that, you know, squatting, hinging, rotating, running, those things, they're universal. Everyone needs them.
Right.
We all need to do that to perform in sports or in life. And so, you know, that really resonates with what Eleiko stands for as well. And I actually have a mom who started CrossFit.
No way. See,
on Eleiko equipment.
So her experience was awesome.
Yeah. And she now is actually, she got her level 1. She then did an extensive PT course, and she's now 60 plus, and she now started Silver Strength, her own PT business.
Nice.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Shout out to my mom.
And some of the latest research would tell you that as far as longevity of life, so used to they would say, I'm sure when you were doing your master's, that it was cardiovascular, like, you know, the better that system was, the longer you lived. Now, the number one predictor of longevity of life is the amount of muscle mass you have is one, the movement a person has is two, and then cardiovascular. I mean, they're all three important, but like if you want your mom and dad to live, they need to have some muscle mass so they don't wither away, and they need to be able to move so you don't have your mom falling and can't get up crap, you know, like she can fall. And
Fall risk is super serious.
Yes.
And he talks about it all the time with leg strength in particular, like has one of the highest correlations to longevity out of any factor.
This is what the world needs to hear, and then they need to do some barbell training to live. You don't just need to go out there on the road and run 10 miles, guys.
Well, and again, if we're all coaches, we've had gyms or have gyms, and you know, again, going back to your question on whether we're you know, a sports brand or a fitness brand, you know, athleticism and top athletes are super inspirational. You know, they provide the world with inspiration, with you know, pushing the bar and raising the bar, pushing boundaries.
There it is.
Which is
Branding.
awesome to watch and to learn from. But we also know that every person that comes into our gym and who will never be a professional athlete, what we wish them the most is them playing the long game and staying fit for as long as possible to just be able to have a fulfilling life.
How do you manage that in your own gym? You know, your target market is hard charging 25-year-olds. I know what I was like when I was 25, and if you asked me to, I'd run through the wall.
Yeah, it's
especially if I really liked you, I would totally run through the wall.
It's
head first.
It's a tough question. Like, I actually just built a gym guide for Unscared with with the head strength coach, and we put an article in that gym guide that people get when they get in becoming an Unscaredian, which is called The Long Game.
An Unscaredian.
Did you just
hear
say
that?
Unscaredian?
Yeah. We build Unscaredians.
Dude, that's awesome.
Can we just be honorary Unscaredians?
Yeah, of course.
The show?
Let's get a tattoo right here.
Yeah, get the tattoo.
Oh, it's right there. There we go.
That's awesome.
That was really a subtle tricep flex. He was like,
Right?
bam, boom.
See my lat spread at the bottom too?
but to your point,
did you get that on camera? I love that.
I think we all know once people really get into barbell sports, you know, there's the curve where people just charge hard and consume everything, and at some point after 9 months of training, think they need individual programming. You know, that whole life cycle.
Yeah.
At some point, and it depends a bit on how coachable people are, but most people need to get injured. Now, how you manage that injury?
Hold on a second.
You say they need to?
Hold on a second, because I'm
part
totally
of the learning
with you.
process.
Yeah.
I'm 100% with you. And as soon as I write that on Instagram, that getting injured is actually important, the whole fucking world hates me.
Well, again,
it's all about context and why you're saying it.
Well,
Instagram's not listening to that though.
Yeah.
No, but listen. Let's look at the journey, right? You get into barbell training.
I just want to argue with them.
Listen up, Instagram.
Yeah. Getting injured is
You get
important.
enthusiastic. We tell athletes coming in, start training twice a week. You know, build some muscle, build some experience, build some muscle memory. Go to 3 times, earn your 4th time. But I won't, you know. We won't check every member if they do so, and if they decide to go start training 5 times a week after 3 months, the chances of them running into a wall are fairly severe. Now, we will always coach them and scale them down and talk to them, but if people get a minor tweak and then we send them to our in-house physical therapist and show them, hey, you know, if you keep training with this, you are screwed in the long run, then it clicks.
Yeah.
So people need to experience the full range of what their body is capable of and not
I've
capable
never
of.
heard anyone say that, and I
I'm
love it.
so into, like, that message thing is, when I think about my journey through strength training,
getting injured has been the reason I've wanted to learn more.
Of course.
If I never hit the roadblock, I would have never had to look for answers.
Well, what's the function of pain? It's to
So
show your
learn.
limits.
Yeah.
If you don't know your limits, you just keep charging forward. So at some point you need to find that limit, and now, and that's where coaching and guiding people becomes super important, because once someone has hopefully a minor injury, then the true lesson starts.
Man, I did not get my first injury until I was in my 30s. And I honestly used to think that people were just soft. I would have been a terrible coach. If I would have coached people, which I did, so I probably was a terrible coach. But
now I'm the best in the state, so
until
you
I
can
got
grow.
hurt, I did not have that empathy. And I did not have the understanding. And I was full steam ahead.
I think my
Then I got
empathy
hurt.
has gone away, though, because I understand that it's part of the process. Now when someone gets hurt, I'm like, cool, well, let's just keep
I'm
going.
talking about empathy prior. So
yeah.
learning to say, I would have pushed my athletes a lot harder.
Yeah.
I have some of the best in the world, and I would have pushed them harder than I do right now.
Yeah.
If I had not experienced my own injury and been like, oh, you can, reach a roadblock.
Yeah.
One of the first seminars I ever heard from you, you gave a big talk about being injured, and it was like, and it was the opposite of what I expected. I thought you were going to start talking about injuries, and you got to work around it, and you got to do things safely, because if you stay injury free in the long run, you'll do better. And it was like, yo, you got a hurt wrist? I don't fucking give a shit. Go keep cleaning. It was something very, very aggressive. And I was just in the audience like, damn. This dude needs to train 15-year-olds forever.
Yeah. Dude, yeah.
I have the strongest 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Well,
I was talking more with people who are like, they're achy,
Right,
but
right.
that's happening in
Yeah,
weightlifting.
and hold
Totally.
just for the record, everybody that's listening, it's not like we want you to be injured. It's
Right.
No,
just
no.
a part of the process.
No,
like,
not at all.
Yeah.
if you are interested in finding out how good you could be and where your genetic potential can take you, you have to play at the edges. And part of playing at the edges is you're going to get nicks and dings.
Yeah.
And if you don't learn from those nicks and dings, the next step is real injury.
Is off
Because
the
your
cliff.
body is
Yeah.
going to tell you to stop.
Yeah, and again,
Right.
we're talking about a specific athlete here as
Yeah.
well, right? Because
And the journey, people don't understand that. A lot of people now that I meet, they think, okay, I'm going to start weightlifting, I'm going to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's not like that. You need to first you need to attain, go to a meet, learn what it feels like to compete state or provincial, attain something,
Yeah.
earn a spot up. I mean, the best competition I ever had that I did was 140 and 172 or 173, something of that nature. And then right after that, I hurt myself. And I remember trying to get back to that point was like awful. When I was doing it for other people, when I was doing it because, oh shit, if I'm not at that level, I don't deserve to be a weightlifter. I remember I understand when people are in that mindset
Yeah.
because I've been there. And then when I let go of that finally, and it was when I was in Poland, that's when I had the best training of my life. I didn't care about competing. I just was training for fun. That's and going through that journey, I think I started much earlier than a lot of people start now. So I got to help a lot of people along the line.
Right.
How'd you
I had a very similar experience with that when I trained martial arts my entire life, but then when I started fighting MMA, I felt like my training used to be really awesome, and then my training, because the reasons for training changed, my training actually got worse in some respects. And then once I stopped competing, then all of a sudden training became fun again, and I started getting better faster because I was having more fun, and I wanted to be there more, and I was enjoying it more.
Yeah, and it's so important. Like being happy is more important than your conception of what is strong.
Yeah.
But you can also not be dumb to the fact that you're strong, do that, or you're not strong, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's do what you're good at, and push.
For
on
many of us, weightlifting really is just the gateway to personal development.
Yeah.
Like, we can add 5 pounds to the bar, but that 5 pounds doesn't mean shit unless you're figuring out why that 5 pounds is important to you. And then all the pieces that go into actually getting stronger, of eliminating the trash from your diet, eliminating all the bad friends you have in your life, actually having positive thoughts, learning how to talk to yourself in a way that
It's
accentuates your life and helps you grow. Weightlifting's just this basic physical thing that's so simple for us to add 5 pounds to the bar.
Yeah.
But because there's an Olympic stage and because you can go compete in front of people, now you get the ability to be happy.
I think there's a 100% athlete paradigm. You start doing this thing and it's fun. You're having a good time. You're learning this new movement. You're feeling that snatch perfectly. You're like, oh, this is amazing. You're competing. You have your friends and you're having a best time. Then someone says, oh, you know, you're pretty good at this. I think you could do X. Then you have a bad shift. Then you go crazy, and you're like, you obsess over trying to make this world team, or trying to medal at the Worlds, or trying to whatever that thing they've told you. You lose your mind. And now training is like, you know, you have one bad training session and your life sucks. Yeah. Or you have a good day and it's great, and you let that dictate your feelings in life. And then all of a sudden you start hating it.
Yeah.
And you're like, why am I doing this?
I feel like he's telling the story of my life.
Because it's the athlete journey. We can all go right back to those specific spots. Yeah.
And someone says, just have fun. So you're like, all right, let's go back to where I started, and I'm just going to enjoy it. I don't care what happens that day. I'm just going to embrace the process. And now you fall back in love with it. And then if you can survive that middle part and you can get back to this part, that's where you really find out what kind of athlete you can be, and you can leave. Then at the end of all of that, you can leave the sport being like, I loved it. You know, let's go tell the world. Let's go work for Eleiko and tell the world about how this amazing experience is.
Right. Yeah, along the way, like what kind of was your journey? I mean, you find it, you start competing.
That was literally, it was like when you find it, it's fun. No, but it's true. It's so, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. But there's a part to it at the end that not a lot of people are brave enough to say it. That, okay, I need to let go of this image of proving myself on a world stage and just do it and be good at it and love it. A lot of people don't. They feel uncomfortable in that zone. Yeah. But what happened to me was I was good starting off right. You can say, okay, put him on a world stage or put him on a national team, do something when I was a junior. And I was doing well as a junior, but I wasn't really good at weightlifting. Honestly, I was quite shitty, like in terms of the technique. I just happened to be one of those people who get strong quite fast when you put a little bit of pressure on them. Okay.
When did you realize that you had really strong legs specifically? Was that like?
It was when I went from I squat a bar to then it went to 100 kilos to then my back squat went to 150 to 170 to 190 to 210 to 230. It just went like.
Yeah.
Without
like what time? What kind of time period was that?
I would say it went from. Let's say I started off at 100 kilos because that was the first heavy back squat I remember doing. Yeah. Like, okay, I can't do 110.
2 1/4 is a good number.
Yeah, so it went from 100. That was like, okay, that's nice. It's going to work some time to get to 120. But then instead of taking a year to get to 120, in a year I got to 200. And then the thing is to get from 200 to 220, it's the same amount of work as from 100 to 200. Yeah, sure. And then to get from 220 to 225, it's so the higher the weights go, the less that genetic talent plays a role so much, and you have to really work at it. You can't just lean back and
not get hurt
and not get hurt,
and recover.
So the higher you go, I realized that I can't just coast through. I started hitting those walls, and that was what was happening to me in the weightlifting. When I was getting around 90 snatch and 140 clean and jerk, my clean and jerk would always be better in relative regard. I started noticing that I couldn't just every week I come in and do 5 kilos more.
Yeah.
Right. And then I said, okay, now I need to work at this. And then I worked at it. And then you build this image. Okay, this guy is in his tiny town in this tiny environment. You snatch 110 or 120 and you're a good weightlifter. You've been on the scene for 2 years. Okay, now I need to start thinking about a national team. How do I make a national team? And I remember my first try at a national team, I bombed out and I missed making it. But then my second try, it was university in Kazan, Russia. I really tried to do it, and I remember this clean and jerk. It was the best clean and jerk of my whole entire life. It was 167. The best I'd done in training was 155.
And I was just like, reach.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck it, just put it on. Yeah. And it was there's a picture actually. There's a picture out there somewhere because I trained with Hayden, Adi. This was around that time, and
2 of my athletes.
I always forget that Adi was a good weightlifter.
Yeah,
because she's so good at macros.
She's really good weightlifter. They're sitting there on the side, and there's this picture in this gym, UTM gym, and they're going like with their mouth open because I have this weight over my head because they know what my training is.
Yeah.
They've trained with me every single day. And even I'm like, oh my God, that just happened.
Yeah, because probably if they told the truth before you attempted, they're like, no way.
Yeah, I know. And then,
as your coach, I would have deep down, I'd be like, you got this. But inside, I'm like, no chance.
there's no chance.
That's a
12
huge jump.
kilo.
Like, wait, did you smash your openers and then feel really good and just throw on something that's
Yeah,
12
that-
kilos more than your max?
I was always better in competition than I was in training. Always. That
Yeah.
was like, and then so that competition, the training leading up to it was I was so out to prove that I could do something, and that was around the time that I wanted to get to 300 kilo total.
Right.
I remember that I was in that range then. It was like, okay, I need to snatch 135 and clean jerk 165 or in and around there. That was so you're at like an intermediate level at that point, and I was so focused.
Very
You should have
intermediate.
played CrossFit.
I know.
You could have been a huge celebrity.
Yeah, you would have been a stud. in
Yeah.
yeah.
If you showed up to CrossFit in 2012, they'd have been like, "Oh my God, this guy's got a 300 kilo total."
Yeah.
And
Oh, then you just do butterfly pull-ups.
So
Sorry.
you hit this 167
yeah.
and made this team.
Yeah.
And then what?
So then it went down. Then my training was like, oh my God, horrible training. I'm going to go to this big international event and I'm going to blow it. Because I remember my coach saying to me, what the fuck, Richard? don't embarrass me. And I'm like, you're right. I'm going to go there to not embarrass you. But it ended up working. I remember going to Russia and I remember taking in that trip. That was my Olympic Games. That was the best trip of my entire life.
Sure, man.
Like
yeah.
that, just meeting other people from the country. You're on this national team. You're representing your country. That I
That's
met Ian
amazing.
there, Ian Wilson, and honestly, I was so happy on that trip that I ended up doing really well. I went 6 for 6, and
That makes a huge difference when you
Is
stand
that
on the
the meet that
platform.
you said was like your favorite? It wasn't.
that
your-
was the biggest meet
Yeah.
of my life, and it was my favorite meet.
Yeah.
It was like the pinnacle, and everyone was watching from home, and they're like, "I cannot believe you didn't bomb out," because there's a rule, right? I think it's a 20 kilo rule that you
Yeah.
can't, you have to start on
within 20
kilos of your total.
Yeah.
So I had no choice but to start at like 128.
So back again here at Eleiko HQ with the Shrugged crew and Ryan Fisher. We are going to train a little bit, but first we need to shop for some Eleiko apparel. This makes you look very legit, Mash. If you wear one of these, you're like official.
I know. I feel like
Official.
It smells good. Just that.
Is that not happening?
Sick stuff, getting a lift in later.
Yeah, we're on a shopping.
Oh, look at that.
Bro shopping spree.
Does Eleiko have a sleeve?
There's nothing better than walking into these. We got a barbell yesterday, a swag today,
Yeah. Totally taken.
and everything that we do at Eleiko just happens to be a world-class experience.
I can. They're on the product. Yeah. Let's see. Ryan, I have hoodies if you want to.
Record a bunch of podcasts.
And it's around the
record
wrist
a bunch of
with a little
videos.
elastic.
So how's the trip so far?
No. whole world, not just in Sweden. We got the raddest, look at these. The ladies showed up. Ashton Barner, then we drew Mash, Marcy Larson. The whole crew's hanging out. Yo, come! Yeah, buddy!
You guys training?
Did you go well enough? Killer day, Eleiko, headquarters, Holmstad, Sweden. We made barbells, talked to the CEO, talked to a powerlifting coach for Team Sweden, learned how to snatch, or
Oscar with two
Oscar.
A's.
Oscar with 2 A's. And now we're gonna go jump in freezing cold Swedish water and then get in the Swedish sauna. And it might be like regular cold water in a regular sauna, but since we're in Sweden, it's very Swedish of us. We're gonna freeze our asses off.
Love seeing that.
Let's go.
We're gonna go into a Kabadhus, which is a Swedish sauna. Get very hot, chill out a bit outside, and then actually jump into the sea after to get healthy.
Let's go. All right, boys.
I'm already cold. You're already cold. So first off, you always shower, get clean, and then you get what's
Oh,
interesting. Not bad.
Dog, let's see.
Do it.
Here we go.
Very salty.
Yeah.
Yeah, dog.
Get a moose. Atta go. There we go.
Dude, actually,
Well, if fish can do it, I can definitely last at least 1 second longer than him.
Here we go.
It's a child.
Did you go head submersion?
yeah, I did.
Fuck yeah. I don't know. Natural?
I can show you this, but I cannot show you this.
Thanks, bro.
That one's too small right
This is for YouTube? That's for RedTube. Get it, this. The dish. Alright, stay there, hold on. What are you doing, Des?
We're gonna go babysit.
A drug addict. My sister's long hair salon. They're like there's so much different stuff.
Oh, good God.
I have no idea.
What'd you think, Larson?
Dude, it was the best.
Let's go.
Yeah, like an ice bath at home is cool, but jumping into the bay or the ocean, or technically, what is this?
Yeah, this will be the sea.
The sea.
This will be
Jumping
the
into
sea.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Morning of 1 ton.
Yo.
There's
1 ton.
Douglas.
Got all the breakfast ready.
Mash.
Got bacon, avocado,
Ooh.
eggs.
Ooh.
Dude, this bacon is fantastic.
Let's go, boys. Alright.
Colton, I'm mad at you. My dream last night.
Oh.
You and a
what'd I
couple,
do?
guys jumped me in a bathroom stall when I was peeing. And left me to die in a building.
Damn bullies.
And then I found out my sister was behind the whole thing, and I had this like vicious battle with my sister. I beat the shit out of her.
God, what a contentious dream. Tough day, was it?
It's a way to start the day.
You gonna do the 1 ton today?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Why not?
Yes. I don't want to get into this right now.
Have a couple more slices of bacon, then we'll talk.
It's too early. I'm probably going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Not do it.
I didn't get a chance to introduce you guys. You were so quick on it, so great to have you here once again. People, if you don't know these guys, there's so much to tell about you guys. Travis, where are you? Travis, you here?
You got lost in the powerlifting space.
You got go grab your coffee real quick. There's so much to tell about these guys that I can't really tell you everything about them. So you should go read on them on the internet. They're the hosts. Former Barbell Shrugged, right? Now it's still, but
the show is still Barbell Shrugged,
yeah.
but we have this bigger thing called the Shrugged Collective now.
Yeah, it's a really, really big fitness network, so to speak. So go check it out. Anders, you're like
so average.
So average, yeah, no.
So
you
average.
have the 2,000 pound challenge in you, right?
Yeah, so
9 pounds.
I'd love to act like I created this whole event, but yeah, I competed at the regional 4 times for CrossFit. We coached 70-something athletes, one of them being Mr. Ryan Fisher way back in the day, and just good friend. But yeah, I trained with John Cena. I don't know if you guys know who he is, for 4 years, and at the end of us training together, he invited me down to his house in Tampa to do exactly what you guys are getting ready to do right now, with the goal of hitting 2,000 pounds. And with that, you get to get your name stenciled on John Cena's door. So why this is such an important event to me is, like, you can pretty much just commit your life to the barbell, and you may not hit all the things that you think are gonna happen or you're trying to have happen, but John Cena may invite you to his house one day because you're strong enough to hang out, and one day you may get your name on his door. You never see this stuff coming, but it's possible, and you just show up every day and lift weights because it's fun and all your friends are here. Strong. 105. Drive. Oh, woo. 2 PRs. It's not even 10 o'clock. Yeah, buddy. I gotta yell. I gotta let him more. Who just did that? You just said the PR? Oh, who just did it? Yep. That's 3 PRs on that rack. Do they call them PRs or BBs here? PR? I like that. You never know. You never know. Come on. 122, let's go. Come on. Drive! Woo! Drive! There you go, that's light. Getting there. 120, let's go. 150 on the bar. 3rd PR in 10 minutes. Here we go. Come on.
For a guy that grew up loving the barbell since I was 11 years old, you're talking over 30 years ago, getting to go to Sweden was like a dream come true, going to the king of the barbell, Eleiko, and getting to see how it was made was amazing. However, getting to go to the 1 ton challenge and seeing a bunch of people loving the barbell as much as me, and seeing how smoothly the competition ran, and also seeing the looks on people's faces when all those PRs were set, and just seeing what can happen if a whole day is centered around the love of the barbell and the 6 lifts that we all love so much, and seeing the joy that it brought to the people that were competing and to us. It made the trip amazing to me. So I'm thankful that I had a chance to go, and I feel like now I understand the barbell and what it means to the world even more.
Can you tell us a little bit of the history of the gym?
It started back in 2012. It was the first CrossFit affiliate in Halmstad. Started out in a small closet and just grown from there.
And all that?
Yeah.
Brad, what's your name and a little bit of experience?
I'm Eric. We're doing CrossFit, so we love it. And we love the one-ton challenge. We love to lift heavy stuff.
6 lifts, right? Just go get huge all day. How'd the one-ton challenge go for you?
Good. I did PR in 3 out of 6. So.
3 out of 6 PRs. That's huge.
I'm Alisa Rothstein, and I'm 16 years old.
16. You're competing though on the national level right now on Olympic weightlifting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When did you start weightlifting?
Last year.
Only 1 year?
Yeah, but I did CrossFit before, and then that guy, my coach, he wanted me to try weightlifting, and I got stuck in it.
Yeah, it's tough when you're really, really good at it.
It's our great community. We are great friends, and everyone is friendly. And
Tell me about the one-ton challenge. You happy with all the performances?
yeah, it was really fun. And many did PRs. Many plus.
Lots. How many did you have?
I did 3 PRs. Yeah.
That's really good.
Hey friends, Doug here. I feel phenomenally lucky to be able to spend time at Eleiko. Make the nicest barbells in the world. I've been very fortunate my entire life to have lifted on Eleiko barbells. Starting when I started Olympic weightlifting back when I was about 14 years old. Always had access to Eleiko bars, and I was always told that we had Eleiko bars because they were the best, and we were using them that way. We could never blame the equipment. If we missed the lift, it was our own doing, and we only had ourselves to blame. So we always made sure we had the best bars available, and Eleiko bars are those bars. So I feel very fortunate these days to be able to be friendly with Rickard and Eric, the brothers that run Eleiko. They've been phenomenally good to us over the years. To be able to go to Sweden and make our own bars, and to have them be so generous as to let us be a part of that process, and then ship those barbells back home with us with our names engraved on the barbells is just a phenomenal gift. And I really can't thank those guys enough. So these guys are fantastic. And if you ever have the chance to head out to Halmstad, Sweden, and check out the Eleiko facility, it's truly world class. So make it happen. If you have questions about anything Eleiko or anything related to Barbell Shrugged and our trip to Eleiko, feel free to hit us up on social media.